Hey guys, welcome back to Deeper Than Most. I'm your host, Sav.
And I'm your host, DJ.
So today we are going to be doing a shitload of horror movies, part 2. Yeah, we back again for another year. I can't believe that Deeper Than Most is on its second, year of holidays, I guess you could say. Holiday episodes and specials. It just feels like we did our Halloween special yesterday.
And here we are again with another shitload of horror.
And of course, we're bringing in the spooky cocktails once again. And today we have a Halloween vodka fizz. And it's literally just that. It's vodka. We used vanilla vodka this time. Orange juice and orange soda and a little bit of orange sugar. It's simple, kind of refreshing, but not really.
Before we get into any of this spooky madness, we actually have a dose of the most this week. So check this out. A Massachusetts law school says it's guilty of accidentally sending acceptance emails to thousands of former and current applicants. The Northeastern University School of Law, in a statement Wednesday, blamed a technical error for the glitch, saying the erroneous emails went to more than 200 people who applied for admission starting next fall, as well as to nearly 4,000 former applicants, some of whom are already enrolled.
How the fuck does a technical error like that happen?
Right.
Since you're the tech guy, how does that happen?
Honestly, it could have happened by somebody from the inside, maybe a secretary accidentally clicking the wrong button. Literally, the smallest things could happen. It could cause stuff like that to happen.
So those people that got an acceptance email though, do they still get to go? I mean, y'all said
Yeah, now that I don't know.
Let us know your guys' thoughts on that. Because, I don't know, sometimes I think it's weird, how shit like that can happen. Anyways, that was a pretty good DOM. I will say, Earth has been high and dry lately, y'all, and there just isn't a lot of juicy DOM content. Now we're going to roll into these horror movie recommendations. We're also going to be rating Halloween costumes and just sharing our thoughts.
But without further ado, quiet everybody, demons on the set. So our first category is our demonic horror. And for our first movie, we have The Omen, and this is the 1976 film. The film follows Robert Thorne, his wife Catherine, and their strange son Damien. A mysterious series of events and violent deaths occur around the family as Damien grows into his childhood, which later brings the family to a horrifying revelation.
Love shit like that. I think I've seen The Omen, but not the original one.
Yeah, no, this movie's crazy though. I love it. It's funny because I was introduced to it via VHS. The director of this film is Richard Donner, and I don't have any information about any of his other movies, but the cinematographer, Gilbert Taylor, directed Star Wars A New Hope, which is the 1977 film.
Our next demonic recommendation.
Before you even get into it though, I will say this one is actually one of my favorites.
Same. Same. It's a good early 2000s horror. I feel like early 2000s, not gonna lie, low-key was the best era of horror. Just because of how camp and just early 2000s horror was back then. It was a different time. It was a special time. The Haunting of Molly Hartley. First off, this movie's camp in all the best ways possible. It's a terrible fucking movie. The acting, bad. The cinematography, bad. The plot, bad. But it's good. I don't know how to explain. It's so cheesy that you enjoy it. A lot of people call those popcorn movies where you're just there for the ride. The Haunting of Molly Hartley is about a teenager, Molly, who is ready for a fresh start at a new school following the brutal attack that was done to her by her mother, who was deemed insane. The attack had almost killed Molly, and she just barely had survived this shit. I mean, it was pretty intense. But, I don't know, just the way I'm having flashbacks of that movie, and it was just a roller coaster ride. At her new school, Molly begins to attract the attention of the most popular guy, Chase. Molly finally feels like she is able to fit in and get her life back on track. But on the eve of her 18th birthday, she learns the horrifying truth of her devilish legacy. Damn. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things. You turn 18, you're either a witch or a demon. Those were our demonic recommendations, and we are doing like 2 movie recommendations per genre or per category. So, yeah. That brings us to our next one, where we talk about all things women, and that includes witchy women. So this category is witchcraft, and the first recommendation that we have is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, it's so good. Just the overall atmosphere and the vibe that this movie brings. I don't know how to explain it.
I do. It is an absolute classic.
It is. It's a classic for sure. But, like, the acting is good. The concept is good. Oh my God, the costumes. Like, all the outfits are bomb. Like, it's just a vibe. Yeah. And that movie is The Craft, the original 1996 movie. Not that damn Craft Legacy shit on, what was it, Amazon Prime or fucking Hulu? I don't know.
Don't ever disrespect Hulu like that.
But the original Craft, it's for the books. So The Craft follows a transfer student who is our main character, Sarah, who's a newbie in her LA neighborhood. Sarah has a telekinetic gift that catches the attention of 3 quote-unquote wannabe witches. That's what the description says of the movie, but them bitches had powers too. The triplet of women were looking for a 4th to complete a ritual that they were interested in, and Sarah fit the mark. So the 3 women that Sarah meets, which is Bonnie, Rochelle, and Nancy, all 3 of them have troubled pasts of their own, and I'm sorry, you guys, if you could hear Harlow meowing because he wants to get into the studio and he can't. But anyways, they all have troubled past, and they are all treated like outcasts in school. The same thing applies to Sarah. They throw me off. After getting acquainted with the girls, Sarah and the others perform a small ritual that causes a girl at school to lose her hair. Yeah, that shit was wild. With the excitement gained from this spell, the girls grow power hungry for more. And you know where that could lead to. So, yeah, I definitely recommend The Craft. It's really, really good. Entertaining. Kind of spooky, not really. It's just a really good 90s horror movie.
Our next recommendation is Rosemary's Baby, and this is the 1968 film, or the original, for those of you that don't know or haven't seen it. The film follows a soon-to-be mother and her aspiring actor of a husband to Manhattan. Once they get to New York, the couple moves into a very suspicious apartment building with a reputation of being all too peculiar. As Rosemary approaches birth, she realizes things are much more sinister, and that's due to her neighbors.
I've never seen that.
It's fucking sick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's super scary and creepy, though. And this film is directed by Roman Polanski, who also directed Rush Hour and Oliver Twist. Which brings us to our third category, an outer body experience. And this is our body horror category. So our first recommendation is The Human Centipede, first sequence. And this is the 2009 film. This film follows a deranged German surgeon who kidnaps 3 tourists and cuts their vacation short by surgically joining them mouth to anus to create the grotesque human centipede.
I'm sorry, but like whoever the fuck came up with this concept, I'm watching you. Yeah. But also, just imagine like strangers at that. Yeah. You got your mouth sewed to somebody's asshole.
And this film is directed by Tom Six. And I don't have any other recommendations of Tom Six's because he did all of the Human Centipede movies. Ooh, okay. And his other films are Dutch.
Yeah, what's your take on that? Like having your mouth on somebody's asshole, like.
In terms of that, though, the way I look at it, the way I watch the movie, it just shows that there are some things out there that are worse than death. I would hate for that. I would hate for that to happen.
And this is one of those things.
This is one of those.
Yeah, no thanks. I would hope that I would be at the beginning of the line. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's the only real spot that you would really want to be in. But even then, like, it sucks.
Because being at the end of the line, you getting shit after shit after shit to eat. You're not just getting, like, shit to eat. But yeah, that's a good movie. For sure,
definitely. Now, the second and third ones, not so much. But that first one, I'll take it.
Our next body horror recommendation is probably one of my favorite movies now. Like, I don't know, it's just so good.
Really?
It's just wild. I still can't get that shit out of my head. And once again, unique concept. And that movie is Tusk, which actually came out in 2014. And I had no clue. I couldn't even really tell just when we were watching it.
Well, yeah, no, it's so weird how much cinematography has progressed over the years. Because there are films from that time that are like, they look pretty damn good. You would think, oh, well, shit, this is a newer film. And then you see when it's made and you're like, oh.
I mean, I thought it was a couple years older, but not 2014. I was thinking like 2016, 2017, right. 2014. It's been a while, and we just watched it for the first time this year, like a couple months ago. Right. And that shit was crazy. It was hilarious and horrifying and shocking. Just some body horror that I was not ready for. Tusk is about a podcast host from the U.S. who is played by Justin Long, who ventures into the Canadian wilderness to interview an old man with an extraordinary past. After his arrival, the podcast host, and his name is Wallace, which just makes it even funnier. Wallace quickly learns that the old man holds a dark and sinister secret that involves a walrus.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you guys, because they wouldn't leave us alone, Oliver wanted to say hi, and I know you guys haven't seen him in so long. He's huge.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Big. I feel like the last time I held him in an episode, he was like, baby. So yeah, that's Tusk. I definitely recommend. I'm not going to say anything more. I'm not going to spoil it, but that shit is wild. And the scenery is insane. Like, just the visuals of seeing this shit, I can't get it out of my head.
Honestly, bro, I thought it was a good film. Like, albeit, it was good, but it was just so funny to me for some reason. Like, it was just so funny because of Justin Long. By the way, Justin Long has been in so many different movies. Have you seen any spoof movie from the 2000s, early 2000s? Justin Long has probably been in it. So
yeah, and he was just in the new movie Barbarian, which we have mixed reviews about. A lot of people like hardcore loved Barbarian, but I don't know, it was good.
Right.
And I'll give it that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that shit was crazy. And the screams, like, I can't get the screaming out my head.
And with that being said, this brings us to our fourth category. Can you survive? So this one is our survival horror category. And the first recommendation is The Collector, which is a 2009 film. The film follows an escaped convict by the name Arkin on his desperate attempt to repay a debt. He breaks into a wealthy family's home to steal a valuable gem. The only problem is he wasn't the first person there. But yeah, this film is crazy, man. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking it out. So it involves this serial killer who is known as the Collector. Literally, like, you know, Collector from Mortal Kombat?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He's exactly like that almost. He literally collects people. And the film was directed by Marcus Dunstan. And he doesn't have any other films to his name, but he directed this one. Actually, no, he directed the second one as well. The Collection, which was a 2011 film.
Our next survival horror recommendation is, you guessed it, Escape Room. 2019, baby. That's when it came out, right before the Blur.
Happening.
Right before Smell It. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. We were definitely late on the bandwagon once again and saw it like a couple weeks ago, and it was really, really good, actually. Personally, I enjoyed it a lot. But this Saw-inspired spectacle follows 6 adventurous strangers who travel to a mysterious building to take part in an escape room. And me personally, I like escape rooms in real life. Like, I've done a couple escape rooms with friends, and it was a grand old time. We made it out of there. So I'd be confident that I could do this shit. I don't know though.
This film was really good, and it was better for me than I expected because I don't have much hope for like newer movies because they usually suck ass. But this movie was actually pretty good, and I liked it a lot because I enjoy mystery and like escape and shit and puzzles and shit. Like I love movies like Cube and like all that shit. So this was good.
It definitely mirrors Saw a lot, but in a different way. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like the contestants were pitted against each other for survival. They were trying to work together to survive. Right. I feel like with the Saw, it was like, cut off your leg or slit her throat. Like, you know, you gotta pick yourself or somebody else. So,
the rooms played on each person's individual fears. But with Saw, it was like he was getting those people because they had done something that was terrible and they just didn't want to own up to it or however that went. So,
well, Escape Room kind of had that premise too, though, because it was about their backstories and an event that had happened in their life where they probably didn't make the most ethical decision in that moment. And, you know, that stuck with them. And then they used that as like, oh, kind of like with Lawrence's character. So Lawrence from Insecure is on Escape Room. I don't know his actual name. What's his name?
Jay Ellis.
So Jay Ellis is one of the strangers that does the escape room in this movie. And with his backstory, it was like he was on a boat and they were like ice fishing or whatever with a friend. And the friend like started getting hypothermia or whatever and like tried to kill him, but he had to save himself. And so that's why they had that escape room where it was like ice fucking cold, freezing. And that's where Buddy died. All participants have been handpicked and offered an invitation to the event. The players arrive and begin solving puzzles with the same goal in mind, to win $10,000. The escape room starts off as fun and games until the players realize this is nothing short of a game of life and death.
Speaking of playing games, Squid Game. Come on, y'all. Come on now. What y'all on?
For real. Also, Squid Game, your lovely host and hostess, we applied to be a part of the real, like, reality TV series version of Squid Game. I ain't heard back personally, but
I ain't heard nothing either. But I'm just saying, if y'all see DTM out here with the Squid, what's up, y'all?
Now we're on to our fifth category, which makes me so bloodthirsty, and that is vampire horror. So no, not Twilight, not Vampire Diaries. But our first recommendation is 30 Days of Night. Fuck yeah. 30 Days of Night, which is a movie that came out in 2007 based off of the original comics. And I actually really enjoyed the comic books of 30 Days of Night. I actually read them when I was in school. And the movies were just as good as well. So 30 Days of Night takes place in the far northern hemisphere in the small town of Barrow, Alaska. In Barrow, Alaska, the town experiences an entire month of darkness every year. So that means no sunrise, no sunset. Just 30 days of night. Most residents head south for the winter around this time, but some stray behind and wait it out. However, one year, those who stayed in town instantly regretted their decision to do so. Hungry vampires descended on Barrow to feed. Only a few survivors try to stay alive for the gruesome monthly-long twilight. The real question is, will they make it till dawn? I love this movie. I love vampires in general, but I feel like we're lacking in the vampire horror genre. It's a lot of romanticism around vampirism or vampirism. And I don't know, I just want to see like the scary side of it. I'm tired of falling in love with vampires.
Which brings us to our next recommendation, From Dusk Till Dawn. Two brothers, Seth and Richard Gecko, are on the run after robbing a bank and leaving several officers dead. They hightail it to Mexico in attempts to flee, but they end up coming across a gang of vampires when they stop at a topless bar. Now they must fight alongside the hostages there to escape this terrifying night. This film was also directed by Robert Rodriguez, who happened to direct some of our childhood favorites like Spy Kids, Shark Boy, and Lava Girl. And Sin City's not a childhood favorite, but Sin City's a good movie. So that brings us to who, what, What is that? Our invasion category, which is our 6th category. Our first recommendation is Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. This film is set in San Francisco and it follows Matthew Bennell as he tries to save the city from a strange, invisible enemy. It all starts when a friend complains about her husband's strange mood. Matthew doesn't think anything of it until a mutated corpse is found later that evening. And this film was directed by Philip Kaufman, who happened to direct a few Indiana Jones movies, and he's actually planning on directing the up-and-coming Indiana Jones movie coming out next year.
So our next invasion horror recommendation is a part of a franchise, but I feel like as a standalone movie, it is so damn good. And this is one of my favorite, invasion type of movies. I don't know, it's just so good. It's so good. The acting, the actors that are in it, just all of that.
I could agree, though. This is a good movie.
This recommendation is 10 Cloverfield Lane, which came out in 2016. So you know what franchise it's a part of. It's a part of the Cloverfield franchise. Personally, I don't know. I like the original Cloverfield movie, but I would say that this is probably my favorite out of the franchise. So after surviving a car accident, Michelle wakes up to find herself in an underground bunker with 2 strange men. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this movie, especially the way they portrayed it in the trailers when it first came out, I thought that was gonna be the plot point. She, got into a car accident, and then these niggas just picked her up and brought her to a bunker, and she's wrapped up with these 2 weird guys. Nobody knows where she is, but it's so much more than that, y'all. It's crazy. Once again, the acting is really good. One of the men, who is Howard, tells her that a massive chemical attack has rendered the air unbreathable. What the fuck? What would you do if somebody, you just came to one day, underground with some strange ass men or women, whatever, and they tell you that you can't breathe the air outside and you gotta stay up in this damn bunker with them.
Bitch, I'ma die, cause what? Y'all, what you mean we can't breathe?
Yeah. The trio's only hope at survival is to remain inside the lavish bunker. Because I'm not going to lie, that bunker was decked the fuck out.
I mean, I guess that makes sense though. Shit, I'm going to be down here for the rest of my life. Might as well make it look like something.
I swear to God, he was ready for that shit.
Alright, it's time now.
And the bunker belonged to Howard, just for context. Despite the comforting vibe that the bunker shared, Howard's controlling and menacing nature made Michelle uncomfortable and pretty much just ready to fucking leave. Cause yeah, he was real weird in the movie. But the acting, it was just great. After taking matters into her own hands, she discovers the truth about the world outside. And, might I add, about the world inside that damn bunker too, because Howard
was on some shit and was hiding some shit, and R.I.P. Buddy, who was just trying to help. Definitely one of my favorite movies. It's just so good. It kind of makes me want to watch it right now. But yeah, that's 10 Cloverfield Lane, and those were all of our horror movie recommendations. A shitload of horror, and yeah, it just feels good to bring that back. But with all that being said, let's take a spooky moment to thank our spooky sponsor, and we will see you soon.
Have you heard about Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free and easy to use.
It has creation tools that allow for recording and editing straight from your phone or computer. This means you can view your listener count, upload vidcasts, and personalize your show, making it the best user experience around.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more, making it so you don't have to do it individually.
You can even monetize a podcast without minimum listenership.
Anchor has all the tools to make a podcast in one place, like adding files, sound effects, and audience messages.
So download Anchor today at anchor.fm, and that's anchor.fm, ANCHOR.FM.
So what are you doing? Start your own podcast now.
And we're back.
like a spooky ass butt crack. And now we're about to get into rating costume genres out of 5. So we're gonna break this up into like single costumes, couples, and groups. We have 5 categories for each, but we have a bonus one for singles just because most people are, wearing a Halloween costume like just by themselves.
Right.
Let's get into rating these Halloween costumes. If you're watching this on YouTube, we will be throwing up like examples of these costumes, but we're kind of just going to have discussions about them and share quick thoughts about what we think when people wear these types of costumes. Because, I don't know. Halloween is about creativity. It's about, doing shit that you don't usually do. We're starting with singles.
Our first category is occupational, that's like your doctors, your cops, anything like that. Honestly, for me, I would say it's definitely giving me a 2.
Ooh, I agree. 2 out of 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Just because, like, who wants to dress up for work for Halloween? We do that all day, every day.
I'm not a fan of the occupational. I think they're really lazy. Like we said, it's about creativity, so why not add a little flair, do something different?
Yeah, I agree. Occupational is just boring. Now, I get it, like, you want to dress up as a firefighter, because you don't get to do that in your everyday life,
Right.
But I don't know. Like you said, it just feels lazy.
You could have been a firefighter zombie, you could have been a firefighter like vampire, anything.
Our second one, this one's a little controversial, and I already know how I feel about it. People dressing up in cultural costume, or just repping an ethnicity. That just don't sit right with me, because why are you trying to appropriate? Like, you don't get a pass just because it's Halloween.
Yeah, that's just not cool. In my personal opinion, like, fuck y'all, bro. Stop doing that. That's weird. That's like somebody's life. That's somebody's, family's heritage. That's not a costume for you to put on every other week or every Halloween. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and an example of this would be, I hate to do it to y'all, white people dressing up as Native Americans.
Rastafarians.
Ooh, yeah. Or just anybody dressing up as, like, a geisha or, like, something like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I dressed up as a geisha as a kid, but I was a kid. I didn't fucking know. And I don't even think it was really my choice. But, yeah, just don't do it. Don't do it. It's played out, and I'm definitely raking that a 0 out of 5. That's sad as fuck, because you gotta sit here and steal somebody's culture just to celebrate a holiday?
Just to have a costume, like, that's weird. And if I had to rate it, it's a smooth 0 for me. Our third category is DIY. And these are the most fun in my opinion. I feel like people can really do a lot, and I've seen some really cool ones. So honestly, I would rate this one a solid 5.
I agree. Solid 5 across the board, just because it's DIY. You did it yourself. Like, it doesn't matter what the costume is. You made that shit yourself. Definitely a 5 out of 5. For sure. The next one is Celebrity Inspo. So this is like people that dress up as like Left Eye, or I don't know, just any celebrity, right. Justin Bieber, like just any fucking thing. And I rate that a 1 out of 5 just because I'm not a huge fan of celebrity inspirational costumes. Like, let that person be them. Like, You ain't gotta walk around as George Washington. You ain't gotta walk around as Beyonce.
If I rate it, I'd say it's a 3. And the only reason I say 3 is because, I think it's kind of creative, like how people execute the celebrity inspo. But I do understand what you're saying about, like, just let them people be, bro. It's weird.
But I will say people do execute it well.
All right, next category is scary. Scary costumes. Now, if it's done right, I'd say a solid 5. But I've seen some shitty costumes. But I'll stand with that 5. I'll stand with that 5 for sure.
Scary, yeah, I'd say 5 as well. Just because scary costumes, like, I don't know, it just feeds that horror need that I have.
It's the essence of Halloween.
Yes, literally. Like, people that dress up as Michael Myers, or just anything, like, just anything that's scary. The scary masks. That's what I think of when I think of scary. And our bonus category for single costumes is sexy.
Now, In terms of this category, there's so many different ways you could go, and it really plays into people's creativity as well. So I give it a 5, and it's all dependent on execution, really.
I agree. Like sexy Chucky or sexy nun, sexy, just whatever. I feel like with sexy costumes, there's a time and a place.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I better not see you walking around like a sexy nurse with your kid trick-or-treating on Halloween. But yeah, I rate sexy costumes 4 out of 5. Like, if it's done for like a Halloween party or I guess Instagram, sure, whatever. Girls gotta get their pictures in. But, yeah, I don't know. There's just a time and a place for sexy Halloween costumes.
So we're going to be rating some more costumes, and this is for our couples. Gotta love it, right? Our first one is gags.
So gags would be... Have you ever heard of the concept of like an outlet and like a charging port or something?
Or popcorn and butter or some just...
Yeah, gag costumes are just anything that's like a play on something sexual or just funny. Adult comedy, pretty much.
If I had to rate it though, I'd give it a 5.
Really?
Per creativity purposes. Because people can get really creative with that shit.
That's true. I give it a 3, but I would have to like see somebody's costume to be like, damn, bro, like that's hella good. I rate that like a 10 out of 10, like in the moment. But just thinking about it, yeah, it's like a 3. It's cool or whatever. So the next couple category is this and that. And basically what that means is you need both people present to understand the costume. And a good example of this is one year a friend of mine and I were going to just dress up for Halloween as Netflix and Chill. And I feel like just popping up as Netflix or just popping up as Chill, you're not going to get the full story of the costume. But when you show up together, Netflix and Chill, it makes sense. So, yeah, shit like...
I rate them I give it a 4. Because you have to like plan that out and like actually think about it.
I agree. That's a 4. Yeah, and it takes effort from both sides.
Our next category is dynamic duo. So deeper than most.
Your best host.
Nah, dynamic duo will be some shit like, Shaggy and Scooby or Velma and Shaggy, actually. Ship them, love them.
Yeah. Even though we see a lot of Velma and Daphne. Yeah. And it's sexy Velma and Daphne. Man, last year they were running rampant. But dynamic duos, yeah. Like, that was a perfect example is Scooby and Shaggy. I don't know. Who else is a good dynamic duo?
Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, Cheech and Chong. Like, literally just dynamic duos. And I would give this a 5 out of 5 just because, like, that's a good, like, best friend costume or a literal, like, couples costume. Like, just dynamic duos. It's a good one.
It's solid. It's a solid 5 for me.
So our next category is concept costumes.
Ooh. Now give me an example of a concept costume because I think I know what it is, but help me out here.
A concept costume would be like the Mona Lisa costume where you have like a frame or whatever. Okay. And then you have like a little hole for your head to go through and then the other person's a painter. Or like okay. Like concepts like that. Like, oh, you're painting the Mona Lisa. Shit like that. Cool. I feel like that's a good example. I'd give concept like a good 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I can agree. 4 out of 5 for sure.
But I will say, concept costumes, it requires thinking.
Our next category is couple switch.
Ugh, I'm sorry, but this shit just make me cringe. The idea of a couple switch costume is the boyfriend dressing up as the girlfriend for Halloween and the girlfriend dressing up as the boyfriend for Halloween. Or girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend, theys and theys. We accept it all. But, yes. Theys and thems. All of them. But the thing about it is, it's just corny and it's boring and it's played out. We know who y'all are. You don't have to be each other. Couple switch, I can go without it and I'll just give it a 1.
It's a lonely single for me.
Unless we think of it as like a couple switch, like a couple dresses up as another couple. I mean, as in like you dress up as Ike and Tina or something.
Oh shit.
I'm just saying that's an example.
Whoa, god damn, Bobby and Whitney. Oh shit.
I don't know. I'd still give it like a 1.
That's a solid 1
out of 5.
It's a lonely single for me.
Oof. So that was it for our couples. And now we're getting into the last grouping, which is groups.
Yep.
Our first category for groups is historic. And this could be like, you know, with PWIs and how they be doing like in the South, where they be doing like them antebellum parties and shit. Or, you know, you just do like, I don't know, just old shit. Like, yeah, but it's like a group concept. Mm-hmm. Not just like a single, oh, I'm Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, historic.
2.
If it's done right, I'm going to give it a 2.5.
You heard it here on Deeper Than Most, 2.5.
But if it's offensive historic, yeah, bitch, that's a no for me.
If we are rating this bullshit, I would rate it a solid 1. I'm just not a fan. Our next category is Disney.
Disney costumes for a group, I think that's cute. It could be fun. But for Disney, I'm going to rate that a 4 out of 5 just because everybody's going to know it. Everybody's going to love it. And, I mean, it's creative. It's Disney.
I'm all for seeing Mickey and Minnie over there throwing up in the bushes at the Halloween party. If I had to rate it, though, solid 4. Solid 4.
Our next category is con-esque. And this would basically be like AnimeCon, Comic-Con, where you basically just dress up for a convention, but for Halloween. And I'm going to give that a 5 out of 6 because I love Comic-Con and AnimeCon, like, outfits and concepts. I don't know. They're just always so creative. Most of them are DIY. And, like, I don't know. I feel like with cons specifically, these are things, like, it's a specific niche of people. And these are things that the people are actually interested in. So if somebody's dressing up in a con outfit, like, they truly value the character or the show or whatever media that the character is from. I don't know, and it just kind of shows the personality and the character of the person dressing up.
Shit. If I had to rate it, though, definitely a strong 5. Because that shit's just cool. It's cool to look at, and people put so much, like, time into it. Our next category is trendy.
So this would be shit that's literally trending. Like last year, how Velma and Daphne was fucking trending. Oh my god. Like everybody was fucking Velma and Daphne. I'm over it. I don't want to see it anymore. Like when shit is trending, it just gets played out too quick. I'm going to give trendy costumes a 1 out of 5. Oh, it's cutthroat in this bitch today.
But if I had to rate it, though, it's a win. Come on, man. Do something else. And the category is
food. The last category is food. For a group costume, this could be like you and your bitches, everybody stepping out as a different Skittle. Or or soda cans. And everybody different. Anyways, everybody a French fry. But yeah, that's pretty much food. And I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna give food a 2 out of 5 just because I don't want to get hungry when I look at you.
It's a solid 2 out of 5. Nothing more, nothing less. 2.
I mean, it's cool. It's fun. Like for a group costume, you know, like Skittles, it's a different color or whatever. That was us rating different types of Halloween costumes pertaining to singles, couples, and groups. We included everybody. That brings us to the wiggity whoop wind down.
Wind down. We have 4 this time around. The first one reads, what costume category did you like best?
Damn, I don't know. Which one did I rate a 5? I think AnimeCon or Con-esque. Yeah, Con-esque costumes, I think, takes the cake.
We can agree there for sure. Mm-hmm.
Our second wind down. Out of the movies listed, which one that you didn't recommend interests you the most? I'm going to say Rosemary's Baby. But also The Omen, too, because I haven't seen that. And it's a classic.
It is absolute classic. Honestly, out of all of them, I love all of them. And I've actually seen the ones that you listed. But
all of them, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I've actually seen all of them, but I think the one that I enjoyed the most is The Haunting of Molly Hartley, just because it's so campy. Our third one down is, what would be your ideal cinematic universe? So, to expound on this question, basically, like, what type of shit would make up your universe? Like, what would you want inside of it? In a horror universe at that. For me, honestly, I'm thinking a little bit of Mad Max mixed with Queen of the Damned. I could fight some vampires on during the apocalypse. I'm all for it.
My ideal cinematic universe would be Nightmare on Elm Street mixed with a little bit of The Walking Dead. Mainly because that nigga catch you in your dreams. Period, point blank. Like, I like to sleep, and I be sleeping good. And just the idea of somebody, like, infiltrating your fucking dream state is terrifying to me. And our last wind down is, how does horror shape your spooky season? So what gets you in the spooky mood first? Mm-hmm. I would say, you ease into it with the movies, then you decorate, or you decorate, then movies. And then, of course, a haunted attraction at some point.
I can agree. I say for me, though, I definitely love starting with, like, the spooky movies. Gotta have it. And then you get into decorating because, like, you can watch the movie, grab some inspo, start decorating, put out your little shit, scare some people, Yeah. All that fun stuff. But with all that being said, this has been episode 75, a shitload of horror, part 2. And since there are 75 episodes, that means you have 74 other episodes to check out, including our short stuff bonuses.
And there's a shitload.
Kind words. What were you thinking?
My kind words are, stay spooky, my friends. Yeah, like, we're in the thick of it. It's spooky season. I'm feeling good. I don't want it to end, but it will.
Alas.
So just enjoy spooky season while it's here. And if you want to get a little bit spookier than we did in this episode, check out our episode from last week where we talked about the history of Halloween and haunted attractions, because that was a blast.
My kind words would be, throw that fucking candy corn away. No, in all honesty though, just be safe. Be safe, guys. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and comment on one of your favorite videos to be entered in our Halloween Spooktacular giveaway.
Yes, and don't forget to DM us a screenshot or a picture of proof so we can enter you into that giveaway. We will be giving away $31 for 31 days of Halloween. And we're also running a Q&A right now. We haven't gotten any questions, so if you have anything spooky you want to ask us, ask away.
Be sure you're supporting at Deeper Than Most PC. That's the Instagram. PC is for podcast. Come on, guys. Get with it. You can email us at deeperthanmostpc@gmail.com. You can check us out on our official Facebook group, which is way too long, so we're eventually gonna
change it.
Check us out on TikTok at DTM Pod, because it'd be some spooky, funny, cool stuff going on over there. And also, make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. That's the YouTube. Make sure you are also giving us ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast.
Please, because it really helps our show. We're trying to grow, and we want to expand our audience. We want to produce a better show over time, and that will be possible with the help of you guys. If you give us ratings and reviews wherever you listen to the show, because we have a lot of listeners, and we only have 8 ratings and reviews, I think, on Apple Podcasts. Yeah. So, we know there's more of you guys out there. Mm-hmm. We don't have 2.4 plays for nothing. Right. We don't have 2.4K plays for nothing. Or 2.4K views for nothing. So we know y'all be tuning in.
And with that being said, I've been your host, DJ.
And I've been your host, Sav.
Stay spooky, stay light, and stay positive, my friends. Catch us next time on Deeper Than Most.